Hello, everyone. A very good morning from Port Moresby, Papua New Guinea, and I welcome you all to the first episode of Live with Conscious Kumo. I am so excited that you are able to join me today to have this conversation with one of the most amazing person that I've come across in my life, and to hold these conversations where we have people from different walks of life who have different passion, who are in different areas and who want to share their passion with each one of us. So this is the first live conscious Kumu IG show, and I welcome you all to be part of it. Before I get into who I'm gonna bring on board, as you know, I am passionate about creating spaces for conversations, and throughout making this account, I realized that there's so many people who share different passion and want to have a space to share their views, share their passion, and have a dialogue about what they're passionate about. So I changed this account to something that I can involve as many people onto the show as possible so that they can be able to share their views, share their passion, and help us understand certain things and certain issues they're passionate about so that it can help us to be able to help take action in some of the areas. So today I am excited, very, very honored that my good friend Elizabeth Lord is the first guest on this show. And she is not just anyone that I've come across. She has so much history in terms of the knowledge she has in the areas of work that she has done before coming to Papua New Guinea. So before coming to PNG, she usually used to work in spaces of youth, women and children, especially in crisis centers, and helping women and children and youth who are disadvantaged in certain areas of their lives. So she has that experience, and when she heard about um, Papua New Guinea needing people or individuals to help in the space of sorcery acquisition related violence, she thought, okay, this is a great place that I could go and I could give my expertise and I could work in this area. So I am excited that she will be joining us in this conversation and she'll be able to share with us what she's up to, and we'll have this dialogue where I invite you all to also be part of by asking questions or leaving your comments behind so that we can be able to have this dialogue. So, without further ado, I will um, invite our guest on. Okay, so she is not yet in the building, and as soon as she joins, I will bring her on. So again, Conscious Kumu would like to welcome all of you to this first episode of Instagram Live, and we hope that you will learn as much as you can from this conversation and be able to participate in it as well. And we don't know how big this is gonna go or whatever changes is gonna happen, but this is a start, and we will have so many great guests on this show. So, okay, so our guest is in the building as in virtually. So I will invite them on, and we'll start this conversation. Hello, Elizabeth.
Good
Thank
morning.
you so much for joining us.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
I am so excited that you are able to join us this morning for this Instagram Live episode, the first ever. And I thank you for taking time and agreeing to be the first guest for the show. I am excited that you're able to join us. How are you doing this morning?
I am good. I am doing very well. Thank you. Good to see you.
Good to see you too. I'm excited. All right. I know that probably where you are it's very cold or it's hot. How is the weather there?
Um, Probably not that cold. So, but it's definitely hot. Not. It's definitely colder than if I was where you were. So,
Okay. It's I am being roasted here in Port Moresby. It's always hot here.
yeah, it's not as hot here. So, which is nice.
Wonderful, wonderful. All right. I know that you have so much that is going on with you and wherever you are right now with the work that you are doing. But just for the sake of those who may not know about you, and of course me too, I may not know fully about what you're up to or what you have been doing. So just tell us a little bit about yourself, where you come from, your family, something that you're passionate about, or anything like that.
Yeah. Okay. So I am originally from the state of Wyoming in the United States, and I am the youngest of three kids. Um, and I went to university for and got a degree in social work. And I did that when I was in high school. I remember when I was trying to decide what I wanted to study, all I knew was that I wanted to help people. And so that was why I chose to go into social work. And so I um, since then, I back in 2007 was the first time that I came to Papua New Guinea, and spent 3 months here with an organization and just fell in love with the culture and the people and the country in general. And um, when I was on the plane heading back, I told my teammates, I'm going to be back there someday. I don't know how, I don't know when, but I'm going to be back. So this is now my fourth time back to PNG. So definitely, I think God knew what He was talking about back then in 2007. So um, yeah, so I over those years, one of the times when I was here in PNG, I attended a conference in Goroka on sorcery violence with some other missionary friends. And this was the first time that I had ever heard about this situation happening in PNG. And so it was really heartbreaking to me knowing that this was happening. And I had leaving that conference, I just had a passion to help these victims somehow. And at that time, I was in the middle of working with a different organization, and I didn't know what that would look like. So I just started praying that someday that God would provide a way for me to be able to help. And over the years, He made connections happen, and now I'm here. So yes, so I'm the coordinator of our Village of Hope with Tribal Foundation, and so we are in the process of getting that up and running. And so Village of Hope is a safe house for victims of sorcery violence. And so not just a safe house, but also a place for them to start over. So a place for them to heal, and physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, but then also a place for them to learn new skills, to be able to take those with them, to then be able to provide for themselves and their family, and essentially start over. So that's my job. Like I said, we're just getting started. I got back into the country in November, and so just getting settled and getting things figured out. And so, but I'm excited about our work and the women and that we're going to be helping over the years. So
That's amazing. I mean, just the concept of the help that this Village of Hope that you are managing right now. I think it's one of a great solution to helping survivors and victims of sorcery and related violence, get back on track, get back on their feet, and be able to, live like humans again. Because most of the time when someone is accused of sorcery, they are dehumanized in a way. And
yeah,
so I absolutely love what Tribal Foundation is doing, especially with Village of Hope, and I think it is a great way to address most of the issues, not like what the survivors and victims of social related violence face is like. I believe there are like two things, according to what I think, is the discrimination and the hurt and all of this that they have gone through, the torture and all of these dehumanizing acts of violence that they face. And then the second phase is getting back on their feet and being able to feel human again and being able to feel like they're normal and ordinary people.
Yeah,
So
exactly. Yeah, because
this set
the
up.
trauma
Mhm.
they go through in the actual torture process isn't just a one-time thing. It's
Mm.
it stays with them forever. And so how do you move forward with that? How do you deal with that? How do you deal with that trauma? And how do you
Exactly.
yeah. So that's another whole other issue, that it's not just the initial attacking and burning and cutting and
Mm.
unimaginable torture that they go through. It's how do I live with that afterwards?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yes. Absolutely. So it's incredible that Tribal Foundation is setting up this Village of Hope so that it will continue to help rebuild people when the project is finished. It can continue to help rebuild people and families and reintegrate them back into the community and society, because that's one of the most important things that is missing in the issue of, or in the space of addressing this horrendous crime that has been perpetrated against families and individuals, women and children, and even men as well. So
Yeah.
incredible work you're doing, and I am sure there is so much that you will be doing this year, and that will be amazing to see the progress of the project, and then the project being available, or the facilities being available um, for use by our friends who are facing this issue of social and related violence, and yes, all of that. So you
Yeah.
I feel like there's so much that you will be doing this year, and I will be rooting for you throughout the year. So
Thank
that's
you.
amazing. Thank you. And I know that you will blend in well, and you have already blended in well, and that you will continue to give your expertise to manage this project and bring it to life. So that will be wonderful to see. And I will honestly be interested to have you back live after the project is up and running, and
Yeah.
how
Right.
the services are being given to our friends. Right.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And I know like there's so many times that we experience something special in our lives, something that changes
Mhm.
our perspective on certain things, or it could be a little thing or it could be a big thing, but what is one special thing that happened, that has ever happened to you, and why do you think, or why do you hold that event or that experience as something special in your life?
Okay, so I was thinking about this, and I actually have two. So I'm gonna, I'll make it quick, but I do have two.
Yeah.
Um, but I think first would definitely have to be when I was in college. I went on my first ever international mission trip, and just that experience of experiencing a completely different culture than my own, like set the bar or set the plate, whatever, like for my future. Like ever since then, I've just been passionate about international missions, whether or not that means I'm on the field or I'm back in the U.S. and I'm supporting, or in different ways. And so that's pretty big and pretty special to me, that experience when I was in college. Um, and then I think the second would have to be related to my family. My dad. passed away this last August. And so I'm thinking about back to when my sister got married. Um, it was back in 2015, so it was a while ago, but still, it was the last time that my family was all together in one space. So my parents got divorced when I was fairly young, and so they live in completely different spots, areas of the country, and my brother and my sister live in completely different spots of the country as well. And so this one time in 2015 was the last time that my family was all together. And so, yeah, that's um, definitely special time that that is for me. And so just being with my family again all together. So yeah.
Wow. My sincere condolences to you about your dad. I don't like it's every when something happens with a family member, it's always, it takes a part of you, or it like holds a special place in our lives. So my sincere condolences. And how is your mom doing?
My mom is doing good. We talk on a fairly regular basis via video chat. So I was able to teach her how to do that before I left and
Ah,
came back last time. So she's becoming an expert on that. So which is good, so that we can actually see each other's face to face and talk. And so that's really good. So yeah.
that's amazing. I think I will probably need to teach my mom how to use a touchscreen phone as well, so that
Yeah.
we can be able to communicate, yeah, back home, so she can see my face, I can see her face, I can see the family, all of that. But with technology, we thank God for technology, and at this age and season where we are in, where we can be able to reach out to anyone from far
Mm-hmm.
away, and then be able to communicate with them, stay in touch with them, and feel close. So it's very important
Yes.
in times like this. I think it's important to keep in touch, keep in
Yeah.
contact with family all the time. So
Yes.
that's
I'm very
wonderful.
I'm very thankful for it, not just for my family, but for other friends back in the U.S. and other places in the world to stay connected with them. So whether that be on here, Instagram, or on Messenger or Facebook, any of them. So I'm very thankful for that, to be able to stay in touch. So yeah,
That's wonderful. Yeah. And it's also like reiterating the fact that COVID has really, made people to go into isolation, and
mm-hmm.
and then all of us realizing the importance of using or maneuvering our ways through technology, how to use, how to maximize all these devices, all these platforms that are available for us to use. I think it's a great way, and like we can say that we have actually, like, we know how to now use technology. We know how to like really maximize it to our, like, to um, be able to communicate with anyone around the world. So like with COVID, I think it was bad, but maybe it was good in some ways, because it has helped us um, be able to communicate and be in touch with others from around the world, and our
Yeah,
families and friends as well.
yes,
Wonderful. So I mean, in life, we all are humans, and then we see things differently, and then sometimes we get into, or some kind of places where we find ourselves faced with challenge, or we're just living life, and then a challenge stumbles upon us, or we go into something that is very difficult for us to like. At first it might be difficult, but then, like, when we work through it, it is something that we see when we arrive on the other side, and we see
yeah,
that, okay, that was easy to overcome, or that was something that I could, I was able to work around to overcome. So I personally have faced so many challenges, and I see myself as an overcomer every time I try to, maneuver a challenge, or to get over to work around how I can work around finding solutions to address the challenge. So in your life, in your line of work, before joining tribal, and now that you are in this space right now with your work, it could be a past experience, it could be right now. What is one challenge that you have faced, and how did you overcome that challenge in your life?
So this would also be related to COVID, because I was pretty close to being able to come to PNG at the end of 2019, beginning of 2020, um, and then COVID happened, and
Yes,
due to various restrictions and new procedures to be able to get to the country, that got delayed for almost 2 years, um, and that was that was really hard for me, as this is something that I've been praying about for so long, and then all of a sudden to just be in a state of limbo, just having to wait, and just trust was really hard. And for someone who's a planner, I am a natural planner, and I wasn't able to do that at all, during those couple of years, and I just had to trust. I just had to wait and know that if this was something that God really wanted me to be doing, He would provide, and it would be in His timing. It wouldn't be in my timing. And so I had to remind myself that constantly. And I know that there probably was some times when our boss got a little annoyed with me and how impatient I was getting because I just wanted to get here. But yeah, it was definitely that was definitely a hard time because it made me question a lot of things. Question my what I had planned to be doing, question myself, question just a lot of things, and so that was definitely hard. And so it was really important that I found some way to kind of like an outlet for that and that stress and that overwhelmness, and that was really important, and making sure that I had good people in my life that I could connect with and could go to and could just spill my frustrations, and they would be totally fine and supportive and know that they wouldn't maybe have the answers, but they would be willing to listen. And so that was definitely important. So I think that would, if my suggestion to anyone, if you are in that kind of a situation where you're just like in a stressful, overwhelming situation, make sure that you do have that support system in your life. Make sure you're not isolating yourself. There was sometimes when I felt like I was doing that, but I made sure that that didn't happen for too long. That I made sure that I was able to connected with people, and so yeah, definitely. So
Wow. I mean, I absolutely agree with you. Like COVID has really like in so many ways messed up so many things. Like people's plan for the year, you're looking at, business houses who have, plans to execute some activities for the year,
mm-hmm.
organizations who have, things to achieve for the year, like everywhere. So it kind of like jumbled up, like messed up so many,
Yeah,
programs for people and organizations, and even put on hold so many activities and events as well. And
yeah,
I believe people probably have made, or businesses have made losses and all of that. But now that we are here after this episode of lockdowns and after lockdowns, and the
mm-hmm.
spike and the increase in COVID cases from around the world. And I believe it was so much like in the US, what was happening was in a way wild, in terms of COVID-19 and all
Yeah.
these, the lockdowns and whatever. Of course, around the world as well, here in Papua New Guinea as well. And I absolutely can relate to you. During that time, I felt so like I couldn't. I'm most of the time in the house, right, working,
Mhm.
and then there's no
Yeah.
time to go outside. So after all these lockdowns, and one time I went out after like the lockdowns were kind of like lifted, and like the measures were kind of like lifted. I went out with one of my friends, and then he said, "You look so much lighter. You like your skin is light and all of that." And I was like, "Dude, I was in the house like doing all this work for 3 to 4 weeks, and then I didn't have enough sun on my skin, and that's why I
Right.
look light because lockdown." So even during the time, if you don't have friends or relatives to talk to or someone that you can trust, it probably have been like very hard for you to just maneuver day by day, just seeing the news on the social media, on television, and then having all this craziness happening around the world, get to you and like weigh you down in all these negativities. So I believe there's so many people who have, experiences like that. And it will be interesting to see how each individuals have maneuvered around, getting up and really getting out of their homes and really doing something. So yes, it was a crazy 2 years. And for you, like the plan was for you to come in 2019, right? Or 2019,
Yeah.
2020.
Yeah. So I was pretty ready by the end of 2019, maybe looking at coming at the very, very beginning of 2020. But then, yeah. So uh,
Yeah.
almost two.
But everything happens in the right timing when,
Mhm.
it's about the time to happen, it happens. So we are very
Yeah.
thankful
Right.
that you are already in the country and yeah, doing this
Yep.
work, leading the project. So it's a good thing that you are here. And whatever happens from here on, we can, tackle it together. If it's
Right.
another COVID outbreak, I don't know.
Probably just be stuck here.
Yeah,
So.
so many challenges, so many challenges. So it's sometimes like we in these times that we kind of also try to develop our passion and then try to do something that we are passionate about, in terms of anything at all. It could be I saw so many people improve their businesses as well, like hosting things online or even companies, right? Really,
Mhm.
stepping up to the game and really using or utilizing the platforms of digital platforms and all of that technology to be able to deliver high level meetings and all of that. And it was amazing to see how Papua New Guineans have really, really stepped up to the game and really proved that they can, do anything, even if it's during a pandemic. And
Right.
I'm sure like you are also passionate about so many things that um, you can share about with us. What is like one thing that really really sets your heart on fire, and like it really gets you up in the morning, all of that. And if it is something that you could share with us, and then encourage us on how we can be able to join you in this, like join you in whatever that you are doing.
Um, I like I said when I was looking at what I was going to study in at college. My passion, I guess, is always just to be helping people, and um, that can look different depending on the situation that I'm in. So no matter where I am, helping people in some way. And so ultimately here, helping victims of sorcery violence. But too, in the meantime, there's some ladies here in the community that they love learning how to cook new things. And so teaching how to cook new things. So we had a big, huge teaching how to make fried rice a couple weeks ago, and they were so excited. And so just teach like little things. It doesn't have to be a huge thing. And so also teaching English. That's one of the other things that I'm doing right now. As in addition to with the Village of Hope is teaching English. And so sometimes I feel like I don't know what I'm doing some days, but still like I know there's the passion from the students, and so it's worth it. So but yeah, so I guess that would be for me, that no matter what I'm doing, trying to find some way to help someone. And maybe that's just like being in the store and you see someone that doesn't know where something is, or and you know where it is, like simple kind of thing. So, yeah. So, I would say like um, kind of a, like I guess a word of advice or suggestion I guess for anyone would be that if there's something that you're passionate about, like start making connections with people, even if that's like
Yeah.
second cousin, whatever kind of thing. Like somehow like start making those connections and then take the initiative. And so that's how I got here, is that I had those connections. I had made those connections with people, friends that worked with Tribal Foundation, and made connections with other people within Tribal Foundation. And when they announced that they were going to be doing this Village of Hope, I just took that initiative and I just sent an email. Sent an email to my now boss saying, hey, I want to be a part of this. And I don't know what that looks like, but I would love to have a conversation with you. And so you um, you go down another avenue, or you connect with another different organization or different company or something. And so if it's something really you're passionate about, you're going to find a way to make it an important part of your life. So yeah, definitely.
Absolutely. I think I will definitely, I'm noting that, I'm taking a mental note of that advice. Like if you're passionate about something, you just, connect with the right people, know who is in the game, if it's a particular area that you are passionate about, you have to know who is in the game, and then you connect with them, and then, they'll put you through the people that are, share the same passion and vision and mission as you. That's a incredible, incredible advice. And like
Yeah.
just to see, I'm sure like you have, this is an area of passion that you have, in furthering, educating, and be able to provide the expertise in the space of addressing sorcery accusation related violence. And I know that you're also very passionate, and interested about helping the the mothers and the spouses of the missionaries that are where you are, learn, teach them how to cook good food, and also teach them about English. And how is that experience coming along for you, especially when you have mothers who are, most of them are just in the house and helping their husband, but like now learning a new skill, a new way of cooking. How is that experience? How is that experience going for you, and like the feedback from the mothers, and like you tell us about that.
Yeah, so far it's been really, really good. I mean, they're just excited to learn something new. When they typically eat the same thing every single day. They're excited to learn how to cook something new. So it's been really good. So, and there's nothing wrong with eating the same thing every single day. Like, that's totally fine. But they have been really excited to learn new things and just learn about something new in general, is always exciting, no matter who you are, I think. So, yeah.
Wow, that's wonderful. That's I think whenever I'm there, I'll probably, sit in for that lesson that you're giving. So I'll also know how to cook something new as well.
Okay.
Yeah, awesome.
Yes.
And like since you've come and now you've settled in into the community, how is that experience going for you? And how is the community like responding to, the project been going on and all of that? You find like I'm sure like every community you go to in Papua New Guinea, there is a way where, people come together, they show their, appreciation, they show, that you are part of, them and all of that. So how, since settling in, how was that experience for you? Is it a little bit different from when you were like back home, or is it like, easily for you to like settle in and get to know the people? How is that going for you?
For the most part, it's good. It's definitely different being the only non-Papua New Guinean in this community right now. So other times when I've been here in PNG, I haven't been the only one by myself, and so that's just kind of like a learning curve, trying to figure out what does life look like with that. And so, but um, other than that, it's been really good. I've the families have been really welcoming, and I on somewhat of a fairly regular basis get food just brought to me, and so which is kind of fun, and I greatly appreciate it. And so because I don't have my own garden yet, so hopefully soon I'll get a garden from myself on my own, which will be fun and
Yay!
fun to do with the ladies, so that will be fun. But yeah, so it's been really good, and so just very welcoming into this community has been amazing. So yeah.
Oh wow, that's awesome. All right, um to kind of like go towards wrapping up our conversation in a way, um there's I know that as coordinator for Village of Hope, you have so much studies in store for you to do and teaching the women how to cook, new recipes, as well as the other literacy that is going on. What is your how do you see yourself living in the next 5 to 10 years in here, or wherever that is, or how do
Yeah.
you see yourself in the next 5 to 10 years? What will you be doing? Where will you be at? I don't know, but like with the
Uh,
focus that you had on how things are going for you, I in my heart I feel like I know for sure that it will be incredible, but just give us a
yeah.
snippet of how
Yeah.
it's gonna
So,
look for you.
um, so even though I'm a planner, I'm like a natural planner. Um, Years ago, I realized that it's really hard for me to try to plan my life too far out in advance, because a lot of times it just doesn't happen the way that I think that it should or that I plan it. And I just have to trust that God, trust in His plan and His timing and everything. Um, so for the most part, I am taking it day by day and week by week, and so right now, anyways, um, my initial like commitment for this role is 3 years, and so we're gonna commit to that, and then see where we are with that, and then go from there. Whether or not this is a good role for me, and so go from there. And so um, I have in the back of my mind other things that would be amazing to do as a role or as a job at some point in my life, but I don't know if that's gonna happen. So I don't know. So it's definitely gonna just be, we're gonna see, kind of thing. So um, committed to this role in this time, and then go from there. So yeah. So um, it's yeah, it's definitely a little bit more of the mindset set of in PNG that you kind of just go with the flow and you just take one day at a time, and you don't plan too much, which for sometimes it's hard for me. So and so definitely learning from that experience of just, okay, if this doesn't happen today, then hopefully it will happen tomorrow or next week, kind of thing. And so just trusting the process. And so yeah.
Wow, that's a very incredible way of, thinking about the future. You just go day by day or week by week, or what comes, what
Mm-hmm.
may come, we just go with that. So I love that. And just about everything that you've shared with us, and the lessons that you have also shared with us. One in somewhere in your bio, I read that you in this lifetime you would like to help as many people, and then hopefully you can renovate a mini van, and then
Yes.
you can have your own garden sometime in
Yes.
the future.
Yes.
That
Well, hopefully
sounds
the garden will
interesting. That
happen.
sounds like absolutely interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So hopefully the
that I
garden.
love that.
Yeah. So hopefully the
Yeah.
garden thing will
So
happen
hopefully the garden
here.
thing will happen here. We'll have what?
Will happen here.
Will happen here. Oh wow. Yes,
Yeah.
I second that. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
then,
And
uh,
then
sorry, we're getting feedback all of a
sorry,
sudden.
back all of a sudden. No worries, continue.
Um, so the
But the
thing
thing
was, it started
was
when I was
started
there.
was
Um,
their
dad had
dad
a bus and
and
had it
had
partially been
it
related,
partially related
um, and we were trying
and into that,
to do that
but
at some
unfortunately,
point.
so
So
at some point, so it,
but it's always been in the back of
but
my
it's always
mind,
been talking about it.
and so
And so
to
to
renovate a bus
renovate the buffer,
essentially home,
essentially,
and then to try
and then
the country,
to
get
country, get
visit visit
visit
friends, visit national
visit
parks,
friends, visit the national park,
different places.
and
So
different
yeah,
places. So yeah. That's amazing. That is, I think that's a cool goal, to look forward to in life. You just like renovate the minivan, set up a garden of your own, like, while living on the road or whatever. I think it's a great way to, think
yeah,
about it. And as well as like, hopefully, I'm just rooting for you that it happens, you renovate your minivan, and hopefully, you can show us wherever you're going, like from one end of the state to the other, but visits to
yeah.
different states or visits to different, beautiful places and like all of that. And you can share that with us in the future. But it is incredible. I read it and I was like, wow, that is amazing. It's, it's different
I don't
for
know.
like, you don't get, yeah, you don't get a lot of people thinking like that. And I was like, this is very special. Yeah, so that's amazing. Um, so just probably one or two comments or statements or something that um, you think about Papua New Guinea and um, like an experience and what this country has taught you in some way and how what do you think about, how we can go from here forward in terms of, especially in terms of the fight against sorcery accusation related violence? So how do you see, like, from your perspective as a social worker, and as a person who has worked in the area of disadvantaged youth and women and children in vulnerable situations? How do you see the services that are available, and what do you see the gaps that needs to be filled in a way? And then just share us like a with us like a, a, a thought that when we think about the fight against social accusation, then we can think about this thought and think around ways on how we can take action.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I
So
the people of
the people have
and
and
you it's all about
it's all about
do your own thing, be independent.
independence,
Whereas
where
the community is or
so
so
about
and I think that because we can't
rely
on myself.
on myself.
It's something that we have to come together as a community, as a country,
As a country,
anyone who loves this country,
this country,
work together
work together to
so
so
I would
suggest
request
that
if this is something that
this is something that
you also know that it's happening in your community and you want to stop it,
or
but tribal community work with you to try to get you what can happen, or how can we change the mindset to
stop
it happens one
it happens one at a time.
in that community you have one, and so
and so
if no one asks,
if no one asks, it's
to say
to
speak,
speak up.
and maybe it's not maybe that has happened in your community, and you know that it's still there, and
then
let's stop it or to that
or someone
or
dress
so,
life. So yeah.
so take that initiative
to go. So
Well, thank you so much. Thank you. And I know that with you on board Tribal Foundation, it will like add so much value to how we are approaching this issue of social acquisition related violence, and be able to come up with ways that can, fill the gaps of when, like, in this issue that we are fighting against. So that is wow. That has been a conversation, the first ever conversation that I've just started off, and I am very, very thankful that you are able to join me on this live episode, the first ever episode of Conscious Kumul, Live with Conscious Kumul. And this space is about conversations and about sharing passion and sharing the issue that you are working on, as well as your experiences, and talk about something that, you are passionate about. So it's it's a platform that I want as many people to be involved, to talk about what they're passionate about, and to further that conversation, in a way that others can catch on and be aware of certain issues. So thank you so much, Elizabeth, for your time, and I look forward to having you again in the future. But this has been an incredible conversation, and I thank you so much for your time with us, all of us on this Instagram first episode of Live with Conscious Kumu. So thank you so much, and we will call it day. All right
Yes.
then.
Thank you. I'm honored.
Yes. Yes. Thank you.
I
I'm
was
honored.
yeah.
Thank you so much, and
Thank you,
you're a
Susan.
pioneer.
Thank you, Susan.
Thank you. All right then. Bye bye.
Have a good day.
Bye. Have a good day.
You too. Okay, thank you everyone for joining, and that was Elizabeth, and I hope that you've taken at least one or two lessons from this conversation, and that you're educated on some issues, or you were able to meet someone that has impacted my life and is very important, a friend and a colleague in the line of work that I am doing. So I hope that you got to know her a little bit better, and you can definitely connect with her on her socials that are tagged in the post, and find ways to communicate, find ways to help in whatever way you can in this issue that we are working together on, which is sorcery accusation related violence. I thank you so much for joining me for this Instagram first ever Instagram live on Live with Conscious Kumu. And I hope to again meet you in the next Instagram live session. All right. Have a good and wonderful day today. Bye bye.